Word from one of the greatest fighters of this century and last has his say on a potential fight between Gervonta Davis and the WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson. And he warns that one of these dudes' careers is going to be ruined if he takes that fight. And he said the beating would be like Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford. Some mighty strong words from James Toney. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to talk about a fight that we hope can get made, a fight that there's a lot of pressure out there in the air to get made, and that is a fight between Gervonta Davis, who is the WBA lightweight champion, and Shakur Stevenson, who is the WBC lightweight champion. Even though that fight does not look like it's imminent, it is reverberating in the conversations that are taking place amongst boxing fans and some Hall of Fame fighters. James Toney, who is one of my favorite fighters to watch fighting, a dude that is one of the most underrated fighters ever, super highly skilled, fought great competition, had great performances at a lot of different weight classes, but a guy that broke my heart by being 100% correct about the Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford fight when he said that Terrence Crawford was going to beat the bejesus out of Errol Spence Jr. So, I don't really like to argue with experts about fights, the technique inside the ring. I will disagree with their opinions about the outcomes. And man, God dog, I don't have a good track record arguing with James Toney. But before I get into the details about what he said about Gervonta and Shakur, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And thank you to guys so much for continuing to watch me on the channel. I know there's a lot of different options out there in the boxing YouTube space, but the fact that you guys chop it up with me really does mean a lot to me. Thank you guys so much. But let's get into this. Because it is it's the fight that I think is the best fight in the lightweight division, and it may be the best fight, one of the best fights in all of boxing, if not the best fight in all of boxing. I mean, I think it's right there. I mean, maybe just a little bit behind Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez for the fight that if I could wave a magic wand, I would make happen. Maybe that one would be over the Gervonta Shakur, but Gervonta Shakur is just really way up there. So James Toney said that Gervonta Davis would ruin Shakur Stevenson's career. He says that is not a close fight and that Shakur Stevenson should wait until he gets a lot more experience and develops himself a lot more before he gets in there with Gervonta Davis, basically making it sound like it was a man versus a boy type of situation between the two of them. And man, that is a much more harsh estimation than I would have given. Maybe I am just obviously there are things that James Toney would understand about the development of a fighter and what he sees in the ring that most people would not see, including myself, especially since he's such a tactical he was such a tactical fighter. And one of the things that James Toney did was that James Toney was definitely one of the best people standing in front of you and slipping shots, countering you, making you miss, and really punishing you for that and beating you up for it. He was also somebody that would walk you down and cut off the ring, had the ability to cut off the ring on some of the best fighters that they had at middleweight, being able to really beat up dudes at 175 pounds. Personally, my favorite fight one of the top favorite fights that I've ever seen was James Toney versus Vasily Zhirov, the original Vasily. So maybe what he's seeing is that Gervonta Davis has those same characteristics where he can really push the fight. But if he wants to fight on the back foot, he can fight on the back foot. And then, of course, the major thing that Gervonta has is Gervonta Davis has pinpoint punching and very devastating punching. And he also has a lot of experience on that big stage fighting fighters, fighting tough fights. He's been on that stage a lot of times. And when James Toney compares Gervonta Davis to Terrence Crawford, you hear a lot of the same things from people that are critics of both camps, right? Now, of Terrence Crawford, and people say, who did he beat? Who did he beat? Who did he beat? Who did he beat? Right on the way into the Errol Spence fight. Personally, though, there's a lot of people that will come around here and claim that I said things that I didn't say. I picked Errol to win the fight, but I never said that Terrence Crawford didn't have a chance to win that fight or that his resume meant anything in regards to how great of a fighter he is, because he beat the people that were in front of him. And I never criticized somebody for winning a fight. It amazes me how boxing fans criticize people for winning fights. I can understand if you want to criticize and think somebody lost a fight, but just to brush off the fight where somebody won the fight, it never really made sense to me. So in the case of Terrence Crawford, he was always made sure he was levels above the person that he fought, no matter who he fought. And he had fought a lot of them. In the case of Gervonta Davis, it's been the same scenario. On the live streams that I do, I will regularly have people ask that question. Who did Gervonta fight? Well, he fought Jose Pedraza. Well, who did Jose Pedraza fight? He never fought anybody. Who else did he fight? Okay, well, he fought Hector Garcia. Well, who did he fight? He's never fought anybody. He's never beat anybody. Who else did he beat? Well, he beat Ryan Garcia. And he beat Frank Martin. And he beat Isaac Cruz. And he beat Leo Santa Cruz. Well, none of those guys, they were either too small or they were too big or, they were too happy or they were too sad. Some reason, right? However, the execution and the separation between Gervonta Davis and all of his opponents have been noticeable. And that's the same thing with Terrence Crawford. So perhaps that's what James Toney is seeing in Gervonta Davis relative to Shakur Stevenson, because Shakur Stevenson has not really had the other level type of performances. He's got very, very good skills. He is definitely a very, very tough fighter, and an extremely skilled fighter. But maybe that's what he's thinking. I just don't know, because again, I don't hold Shakur Stevenson responsible for people that he beat, even if he had a fight where it seemed like he moved around and ran around a lot against Edwin De Los Santos because he had hurt his hand. Gervonta, even though Gervonta did do that with Isaac, and he beat Isaac Cruz, who turns out to be a very good fighter, on short notice with a hand that it was already hurt. But anyway, that's one guy in the camp of Shakur Stevenson very strongly, where you have other guys like Tim Bradley saying that Gervonta Davis can't beat anybody. And you got Paulie Malignaggi saying that he had a puncher's chance. Now, note, Paulie Malignaggi did pick Errol over Terrence. So, hey, man, he's in the same boat with me as far as that prediction went. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.